hello again. I am sorry for that. I just wanted to really make sure that I was checking all of my settings so we could have the best possible stream this evening. But welcome back to tonight's session of the Case of the Cindered Seal, our Speculate miniseries in collaboration with this channel, twitch.tv/r Um, we will get into the action in just a little bit because I know that you've been waiting for quite some time. Um, but I will remind everyone that there are many ways that you can support this channel. You can find all of Arvan Eleron's fiction at um, exclamation point Arv shop. You can find uh, Greg's Patreon where you can monetarily subscribe to all of his work and support all of his work at exclamation point Arvtreon. Um, I would want to make a special particular shout out this evening to Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, which should be exclamation point library if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm sure that Greg in particular would really want more people to support that in particular. Alligator Alley Entertainment has had a very long-standing relationship with this channel, and I think supporting it, especially now that Brian Dalrymple has unfortunately passed away, is a good way of honoring that relationship and honoring Brian's relationship with this channel and with Greg personally. I unfortunately haven't didn't get an opportunity to meet him, but I've heard good things about um, Alligator Alley's work, so I think that it's only fair to uh, honor that relationship as much as possible. Um, uh, but I think that now that I've overcome some of the issues that I've apparently been having tech wise, I'd really absolutely love to get right into the action very suddenly so we can uh, have all of my friends do cool things in Blaze of the Dark. So I'm going to reintroduce you all to all of my friends who I am going to rejoin in audio now. Hello, everyone. Let me make sure that everybody else can hear you, since you all are very cool and have so many cool things to say. And these are the strange friends who will be engaging in some Blizzardy Dark shenanigans this evening. And I would like them all to introduce themselves by telling everyone who you are and what you do, starting with Valerie.
Hello, I am Valerie Valdes. I am a writer, poet, author of Chilling Effect and Prime Deceptions, two found family space operas that pair very well with Mike's books. And I will be playing Skelly, who is the hound and is currently perched on a rooftop ready to continue exacting vengeance.
I am glad to hear that. Um, Next, Iori.
Iori Kusano, Clarion West class of 2017, she, they pronouns, fiction in Apex Magazine, reviews in Strange Horizons. I play Of the Flame the Ash, who is currently wrapped in a stranger's coat with a crossbow bolt in her abdomen, maybe bleeding out a little inside this abandoned building, and entirely reliant right now on her tall friend Crossroads to defend her.
Bleeding out a little, you say. Let's hope that it stays at a little. Um, Next, Yoi.
Hello, Yoi Gawain Lin, pronouns he, they. I play Crossroads, who is the tall friend who is currently hunkered next to Of the Flame the Ash. Crossroads is also the person who wrapped Ash up in the stranger's coat to burrito the blood inside, where things made of meat's blood should be. Crossroads has yelled threateningly to all intruders or would-be intruders outside that it has a gun. It is lying, kind of, maybe. And as for me, myself, who is made of meat, unlike Crossroads, I am a game writer and fiction writer. So, yes, that is me.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Mike Underwood.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael R. Underwood. I'm one of the co-hosts of Speculate along with Brandon and of course Arv, aka Gregory A. Wilson, who is the host and runner of this channel. And he's been generous enough to kind of lend us his infrastructure so that we can share this game with y'all as a joint production between the channel and Speculate, the podcast. So I am an author and podcaster here and elsewhere. I do some stuff with the Skiffy and Fanty show and hope to do a bit more soon. My latest book is Annihilation Aria, which is a found family space opera, a great duo read with Valerie's found family space operas as well. I'm currently reading the second of those, and it is an utter delight. Her command of tonal range is just stunning. It's really fun. So you get your fun and your drama in one book. So check those out for sure. I play Ring Dalmore, who is a haunted veteran soldier who fought in the Scotland Unity War and has become a kind of neighborhood protector. They are the Spider class, and they have just murdered someone with a halberd, jumping off of a roof and threatening somebody else, and we'll see what happens from there. Ring's pronouns are they, them, and he, him pronouns for me. Back to you, Brandon.
Nice. And we're definitely going to get right back into the action of you descending upon a man in the middle of the night with a halberd in the snow. Because that was just very awesome, and I'm very glad that you did it. I just want to take a brief moment to shout out to John Harper in the chat. John Harper is the designer of Blades in the Dark. And like he is really rad, and this game is really rad, and you should, if you have not gotten a copy of Blades in the Dark yet after seeing all of these cool people engage in shenanigans, you should do that because it is actually very cool. Um, and we're going to immediately show off how cool it is by engaging in some cold open shenanigans. Because we're going to return right into the action by rewinding just a little bit to the moments before Ring had jumped off the roof. So we're going to essentially just replay this entire scene so we can get into the immediate acts of violence that are going to follow. So, uh, Ring, how about you re-describe in as much physical and emotional detail what that experience is like, falling off of this roof with
Yeah,
this
so
long pole arm in your hand.
So folks that were watching last time or who are listening will remember that I only got a mixed success on the prowl roll to try to murder one of these assailants with a big halberd. But then I resisted. So I think that looks like Ring has this big two-handed halberd, which is like a war weapon, and has big snowshoes that they procured for the team because it's just started snowing and becoming winter. So they kind of hopped down a level and then dropped onto one of these assailants. And I think they kind of partially slipped, but then caught, they kind of made their balance so that they've landed driving the halberd through one of the assailants, landing clean, and then kind of unhitch the end of the halberd from the now dead body, spin the halberd around to face the other assailant, and then says, on fucking Porter's Day, because it's a holiday, and especially it's a holiday for Ring and the people that Ring looks after, so they're very angry.
Mm-hmm. I will qualify only because John Harper is here. We made up a holiday.
Yeah.
Because we thought it would be cool to have a world where there is this vast disparity between the incredibly wealthy and the incredibly unfortunate. They just care about each other very deeply in order to survive what must be a dreadfully terrible winter season by just ensuring that everybody gets the things that they need before it starts to snow so nobody suffers. And that day is today, and it's the worst time ever to be attacked by bandits in the middle of the night. So we're going to show those bandits what for right now. Because now that you have fallen down on this one person, there is someone looking right at you, Ring. There is an armed assailant gazing immediately in front of you, and they're immediately going to um, make a swing to attack. In the haze of falling, um, you presently do not know. All you know is that they're about to swing at you from the right. You have no idea what they have on them. You just have to experience this attack so you can resist, or you can um, make an action that you think is necessary that I will allow. But other than that, you are going to be attacked.
Yeah, so I think getting flanked, Ring's response is going to be to dive and roll. And so if I'm going to basically create a triangle here, if Ring is here and the assailant that they're looking at is here and they're getting attacked from here, they're going to dive this way to kind of dive and roll in order to put the two enemies one behind the other so that Ring doesn't have to fight them at the same time.
Okay.
And I'd like to do that with Prowl.
Yes, Prowl is the thing that I was going to insist would be useful in this instance. So I'm just going to check your sheet again.
That's 1 dot of Prowl for Ring.
Okay. So, your position is risky.
Sure.
Like, you fought in wars. Like, you are adept enough that this is not a difficult maneuver for you to make. But as with all physical conflict, if it goes poorly, it goes poorly. Your effect is limited because of the snowfall, but other than that, like, you are pretty capable of making something like this. So it's going to go as low as limited.
Okay. That is fine because I think getting a bit of purchase is sufficient. Yeah, because I don't think that I'm going to do better with skirmish in terms of just like lashing out with a counterattack. So the dodge does make more sense. Is there a Devil's Bargain available here to get an extra die?
I would say the Devil's Bargain that is available is right. So the Devil's Bargain that occurs to me very immediately is we already know that the possibility exists that this group of attackers is going to grow. But it is possible that when reinforcements arrive, they will arrive from your direction first. So you will have to hold them off. So I can set a 4-segment clock for that to happen.
I'm fine to accept that. Is that 1 tick on the clock as part of the bargain?
I will go easy on you. I will say that it will tick once if you fail the resulting roll.
Okay, so the clock will exist if I take the bargain.
Yes, it exists, but it will tick once when you do not successfully prowl at this moment.
Yeah, I'll take that, and then I will roll the risky limited prowl to dodge and see where that gets me.
Okay.
And 1 bonus die. Come on, role-playing games. There's a 6.
Oh ho, a 6. Very nice. Yeah, this happens very deftly. This is something that you have been, you have done before in armed conflict with even larger socio-political stakes. the snow does kind of affect the gracefulness of it, but you do successfully accomplish the maneuver. So you are now repositioned. If I recall correctly, you said that your goal was to be behind the person that you had already struck, um, in order
Yeah,
to right.
just either behind one or the other of them so that they are in a line instead of parallel to me.
Okay. So I'm just going to make sure that this clock exists physically for me. I'm afraid to touch roll 20 because my computer is doing the thing. Um, so I'm going to very immediately return to that fight in a bit, but I just want
Yep.
to briefly skip up to Skelly, who is still perched from another nearby building and still observing the scene. You would have just successfully taken out one other attacker, um, who you know was supported by um, one attacker beside them. So you can successfully identify Ring getting in a scuffle in one direction and that one attacker coming from the other direction, who is like who you have not shot. Um, you can take any action that you wish right now. Do you want to just successfully take out this, try to take out this other person, or do you want to do more recon?
No, I think that at this point she's going to try to take out the next person, or she's going to try to support Ring. Since Ring is now being set upon by two people, she might be inclined to switch to even the odds up a bit for him. And so I think she would probably switch targeting to the one of the two attackers who is farther from Ring.
Okay. Um, Remind me of the rules text for the ability Sharpshooter.
All right, Sharpshooter. You can push yourself to do one of the following: make a ranged attack at extreme distance beyond what's normal for the weapon, or unleash a barrage of rapid fire to suppress the enemy. And so, in theory, I could do the rapid fire, suppress both of them, but then I'm unlikely to take them out. It's more because it's more suppressive. It's trying to keep them away from Ring. But as far as I'm concerned, Ring, if the odds are better, can probably hold their own. So it
Fair
seems
enough.
like just straight up taking them one out. And I think that I'm within normal range for the long rifle, so I don't think I quite need to push yet.
You do not necessarily need to push. This is actually it
Yeah.
should both of these shots are both of this shot is roughly within the same distance as the last shot that you would have taken.
Mhm.
So this wouldn't be an issue for you to
Okay.
just reposition and take this shot. So I
Yep.
imagine that that is what you would like to do.
That is exactly what I would like to do.
What would you like to roll then?
I'm going to roll hunt again.
Okay. So your position is controlled, but again, because of snowfall, your effect is limited.
All right. I got a 2, a 5, and a 3.
Okay, a 5 is good enough for you to put around this person's chest, um, and I mean, once that happens, this person is at least very close to death. Um, so we will see from Ring's perspective, because that's the most interesting way for this to be framed. Of this um, very imposing build, striking at attempting to reposition to strike you from um, the left after you have successfully repositioned. Tries very awkwardly to like swing past the person who you still have a halberd in, and then you just see them just get shunted to the left by some sudden force that you just already know has to be your friend Skelly's um, expert marksmanship, just throws their entire body against the nearby wall. Um, the the individual who you have like successfully spared is not dead yet. He's not very alive, but he's not dead. Um, like at this moment, you like it suddenly like dawns on you that you can still hear this. You can still hear this individual like rasping in the cold against your halberd strike.
Okay. I'd like to do a slightly unorthodox command roll, which is I pull out a concealed pistol, shoot the one that I had stabbed to finish them off, as a way to intimidate the ones that are still there. So I go, pull a small gun out of nowhere, shoot someone from point blank range while staring at the other ones and say, "Who the fuck are you? You want to live? You tell me, and you run." How's that? Does that sound viable?
That sounds viable. At this distance, I'm going to tell you that that shot is already going to happen. So it's just a matter of the success of this command roll for everything else. Because I think that's only just. So, this is hilarious. Your position is desperate.
Sure.
Because you're in armed conflict with people who had no problem ambushing a woman in like the middle of the night in plain view of every corner of the intersection. Like these people are not easily intimidated. But and this is because of snowfall, mind you. Your effect is great.
Okay. Desperate great. It's where we love to live. So I have 2 dots in command.
Also, I have a devil's bargain for you if you like.
Please tell me about this devil's bargain.
The police are going to arrive, but it's not just any bluecoats. Because nearby bluecoats will hear you and they will arrive. But those nearby bluecoats are specifically in league with the inspector who is eagerly attempting to apprehend Crossroads. So you're not going to get into a situation where you can just hide from another conflict. You're going to get into another armed conflict.
How do we feel about that, gang?
And that's
escalation on top of escalation.
So that's going to be another 4-segment clock, and it's going to tick once regardless.
Okay, so Ring's inner Crossroads has popped out into a thought bubble and is going, "The small friend is very injured, and I am panicking, and small friend is wrapped up in a coat, and if the lady with the horrible shoes arrives, I will panic more, and then people will die more, and then we can't get small friend to a hospital, and then small friend will die, and I will panic forever."
So I think Ring certainly doesn't want the cops to show up, but Mike as a player is wondering if it could be more interesting. I know that we're not a super like fighty crew, and I know that that Of the Ash of the Flame is already injured, which is why I wanted to ask the players how they feel about the idea of this becoming a 3-party conflict.
Ash has a crossbow bolt in her side, 0 dots in skirmish, and 0 dots in wreck. And I'm so excited to see this get even worse. So that's 1 vote for escalation.
Skelly has 3 guns and all the ammo.
We do get increased effect against cops.
Crossroads has no guns, but Crossroads is a gun. So there is that Crossroads is a gun powered by ghosts. So
So here are all of my
infinite gun, really.
So here are all of my encouragements for you all to make terrible decisions as I am the GM. One, I made the fugitives sheet, and in the fugitives sheet you all have
We hate the color blue.
yeah. Y'all get benefits when getting in conflicts with the cops. And I really want y'all to use that. Because ACAB. Two, I'm just generally excited by the idea of a Remember the Alamo-esque conflict where the only two people actually engaging in any violence are already outside, and it's just Crossroads peeking out windows and hoping that they don't need to pull their spirit gun and shoot someone with electroplasm.
Yep. Scout.
And a reminder for chat, I hate the color blue is a special ability on our Fugitives crew sheet. That gives us a +1 effect bonus whenever fighting with or fleeing from the blue coats.
Yep. So that sounds like I'm taking that devil's bargain, and we may end up with an utterly ridiculous situation. And one of the best things about Blades in the Dark is that scoundrels are not meant to retire old. They are meant to burn bright. And so let's see what we can do. I'm going to take that devil's bargain die. Could I get an assist from Skelly in this? Either reflecting the fact that Skelly already just shot one of them or something else?
In my head, I feel like the visual image of that kind of assist is like that kind of like stand your ground fire where you just aim at their feet and all they kind of notice is someone's fired very closely at me, but I'm not dead yet. They must want me to just leave.
Yeah.
So if you want to do something like that, Skelly, that definitely works. Cool.
Yeah, so if I get an assist and a devil's bargain, then I'm going to roll a desperate great command with 2 bonus dice, which sounds like playing Blades in the Dark.
Yeah, Skelly would definitely like just shout down. It's like there's a ping near his feet, and Skelly's like, "I didn't miss."
Also, I just really
Oh fuck!
Yes.
That's 3, 3, 3, 1 on 4 dice. So fun. That will be a consequence of some sort.
I just, before you even had shown me the result of the roll, I just want to say that I wanted somebody to like clip this or put this on YouTube with the caption, Blaze in the Dark as Harper intended.
I'm glad I saved that stress.
3 3s and a 1. The cops are somewhere in the distance and just heard you shout.
Can Skelly see the cops from the rooftop?
Cloud cover is too big. I mean, you don't have to worry about it now, but there's a point where you'll have to worry about that.
Maybe like a whistle in the dark in the distance, and Skelly's like, "Oh, I know that whistle. Damn it."
So, you shoot this man. He screams very loudly. You shout into the cold winter night. In this other person's direction. Skelly has just fired like an inch and a half from this man's head. He didn't hear you. Like, you can tell that a figure somewhere like a few meters away from you could have responded to a potential threat, and seems to have only really noticed the potential threat of his friend being shot in the head. Everything else, it seems to you as if he hasn't gotten any less interested in engaging in this conflict right now.
Are there other consequences?
There is another consequence. Which is, just because this person didn't hear you does not mean that Blue Coats nearby didn't hear you, so I'm going to add another tick to that clock. So that clock is now 2 ticks. Um, but the attacker's clock has not advanced any further, so that is still 0 out of 4.
Okay. I mean, I could just kill them, right?
You could just do that as well.
And let's see. What's the things that I have? Do I have a coin? I do have a coin. So I'd like to do a flashback.
Okay.
I'd like to flashback to having done a acquire asset roll to grab a small cohort of toughs comprised of older porters and fellow veterans who I will then deploy with a code phrase, having already recruited them beforehand, and this was always part of the plan.
Okay. I am very interested in this, especially given the circumstances that you are all in. So yeah, I allow that. I think that. So one, I think that's too stress, and two, that's going to require a roll.
Sure.
It can either be sway or consort. Well, sway, consort, or command because, um, you like all of these kids know you already. So any um any action, any of those actions that you were to take would have some effect.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I'd love to do the have it be consort for kind of enlisting their assistance, and then I would be using command to direct them. But I like the distinction because it's not that Ring is saying you're going to come and fight for me. It's I need a crew, like I need backup.
Yeah.
And it's more about relationships than authority.
Okay. So we'll do the consort then. Your given the circumstances, I think it's only fair that your position at that point was desperate.
Sure.
Your effect. Your effect is great, and you get +1 die because this is a relationship that you already have.
Sure. Okay. So that's desperate great with 1 bonus die. Okay. Let's see if the dice like me anymore. Yes, they do. 3, 1, 6.
Okay.
So I think Ring whistles and 6 armed people step around the corner behind Ring.
Okay.
And maybe we cut from there to something else because I've done a few things.
So yes, so the scene now is in the snow. 5 very like five individuals who you can very clearly observe if it weren't for the snow to be children. Just pull out from the corners with like crossbows and long rifles. That they seem to have constructed themselves. Like this long rifle looks literally like a pipe gun that somebody fashioned out of PVC and some parts of rusty steel. Um, and the sixth child, like pokes their head out of the window of a nearby building, and like has a slingshot in hand, as like already drawing back 1 stone. He shouts something into the cold winter night, but no one hears it. Um, while that's happening, we cut immediately to the inside of where Crossroads and Ash are presently hiding. Ash, remind me, did I give you harm?
Yes, you did. I currently have a level 2 harm.
Okay. How awake are you at this moment?
I think, she's going in and out. She's awake, but she is not liking it. She would really rather not be.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also very aware, especially because she played possum at the restaurant, that if she lets herself go into proper unconsciousness, Crossroads is going to lose its mind. So she's making efforts to stay awake. Unpleasant efforts.
I'm glad that you used those words. I would like you to give me a 2 die fortune roll.
Okay.
Oh. Brandon.
We have a 3 and a 5.
Okay, 5 is good. Um, there is a moment, like, as with this level of serious injury and not getting any immediate urgent treatment, you do. I mean, the fatigue does begin to set in, and you do like see like there are moments when your vision kind of fades in and out, but for the most part, you are presently stable. Crossroads, how are
Okay.
you?
That's a very interesting way of phrasing it. Crossroads is fine.
Are
Kind of.
are you
Crossroads
sure
has
that
been yelling, my friends have guns.
are you
Out,
sure that Crossroads is fine?
uh, no, Crossroads is actually super not fine. In between, like, kind of half, patting, Ash's burritoed body. I'm gonna say the knee, because Crossroads is not really aiming, but Crossroads knows, okay, you probably shouldn't pat the wounded part, so I'm just gonna pat a little lower, maybe near the feet,
Mm-hmm.
so it's the knee. So in between patting the knee to be like, that's what you do for injured meat things. Crossroads has been yelling, my friends have guns. And then it has heard with its sensorium, Skelly shooting people, and then Ring shooting the person. And Crossroads is quite pleased that it was correct. Its friends have guns. So things are going to be fine. Things are going to be totally okay. Ring is outside the door, and Ring has made good decisions, and everything is going to be fine now because Ring's the smartest one in the group. So everything is okay.
All right.
That's how Crossroads feels right now.
I think this is the first time that Crossroads has said that it's feeling okay, and I believed it. Because you were going to have to roll for a thing, but you don't now. So nothing happens. Um,
Crossroads is a big fan of nothing happening.
right. So I'm going to go back briefly to Skelly, precisely because I want to know if Skelly wants to do a thing before Ring and the Newsies take over this street.
Is the person who was near the door still visible and kissable with a bullet?
I forgot that there was a figure visibly near the door. Um, you would have to reposition quite a ways to be able to actually um, aim at them, but you know exactly where they are if you wanted to attack them elsewhere. If you want to attack them by other means, which is a good time to ask: did you leave with your friend the cat?
No, unfortunately, he was eating when I left, so I doubt he has come to look for because basically, as I recall, what happened was we got fed, so I was feeding him, I ate, and then I left, and on the way, I was told that this had gone down, and so Truffle, as far as I know, is back in the apartment.
I'm going to personally headcanon that as Truffle doesn't like the cold and would never work in the snow. But yes, still. Okay, so if you wanted to move, you could move, but Um, I will just let you know. I will give you the opportunity to do a thing, but I'm going to switch from you to ring before you get an opportunity to fire. Because it would take a while for you to reposition sufficiently enough to attack, unless you wanted to just like fall off the roof or something.
No, she's staying on the roof for now because this is a good way to see what's going on around. So, is there anyone else? Is the other person near Ring still standing or no?
I mean, he's standing by the grace of the halberd that is presently within him. So not really.
Okay.
Like that
Well,
person is definitively dead. There are no threats immediately in Ring's vicinity at this moment.
okay. Then I would reposition, yeah, to take out because last known threat. Unless it
Well,
would make more sense to do a survey to see if there are any other heretofore unknown threats that have appeared at this time. But if not, then reposition to take out the last known threat.
I wouldn't stop you from observing if you from doing some more investigation if you wanted to.
Okay.
So at this moment, the only person that you can see is the attacker who you had previously fired a warning shot at is now advancing, not necessarily in Ash's hideaway's direction, even though it's essentially the same direction, but is advancing towards you because they know that they've been shot from your direction but cannot tell at what elevation.
Oh, then I'm gonna let him tell because I'm gonna shoot him.
Cool, you could do that too. So another hunt for this person's actual head then.
Oh yeah.
Okay. If I recall correctly, the position and effect I gave you before was
It was controlled and limited.
Right, yes. Those are still in play.
Is a 5, a 2, and a 3.
Yeah, you just passed through this guy's head. It's just like, what's the name of that game again?
Which sniper game are you talking? Like
The one where once you pull the trigger, there is this slow mo scene of just watching warm steel just pass through the bone of a man's head very slowly.
Oh, that's like 6.
Silent Scope, or
Yeah, that's like a half dozen games in the 2010s at least.
Yes, so that's we're going to give like that viewing experience of like just watching this pellet of steel fly through the cold. You can see like individual snowflakes melt against the edge of its rifling, and then there is like this X-ray moment as the guy's head enters the frame, where you see less flesh and more bone, and then you see less bone and more holes, and then he just falls to the ground. So as of this moment, there are no immediately visible threats to you.
Okay. Cool. Very nicely done, Skelly.
Are you saying that immediately to Skelly? Because I doubt Skelly would hear if you didn't shout.
I don't know that that's going to be shout, but what is going to happen is Ring is going to go back up to the second or third floor with Skelly, leading the squadron of young ruffians. Because it's much better if they are up there where they're farther away from danger than if they are on street level where a bunch more crap is going to happen. So if we abstract to more than a couple of seconds, then what I would want to do is roll command to coordinate getting this small gang of murder children into position to be able to fire on subsequent attackers. Which I think would be either a setup action or something like that.
That does make sense to me as a setup action.
Okay. Because I think that may end up being like, that may just be a setup that then applies to whoever it is addressing that challenge. So it's a setup for the gang that we are set up in this good position Um,
Yes. Like, I would go so far as to say I'm not sure if Blades gives me tools that are like necessarily equal to the decision that I'm about to make, but the decision that I'm about to make is the success of this setup action will determine how well the porters that are presently in your retinue will do all on their own without further command from you.
sure, that makes sense to me. Cool. Stress is not in great supply.
Yeah, you're
So,
presently kind of overworked.
yep. I mean, I can handle anything as long as I keep rolling sixes on my resistance rolls, right? That's how Blades works.
I guess.
So yeah, I think we, as the camera moves back to Ring, if there's no more assailants, the one on the ground is dead. Then Ring kind of turns and smiles to them and kind of points up with another whistle, and we see kind of the six, the six, like the 5 or 6 kids and Ring clambering up again. Because we have thief rigging, I'm going to tick climbing gear for free.
Mm-hmm.
That it is a representation of the fact that Ring already distributed the climbing gear to these kids, and so they're just like, they're grabbing ropes, and there was already a rope here, and like as we turn back to that side of the building, it's really easy for them to clamber up.
Yeah. So they're just rappelling up the sides of buildings, Counter-Strike style.
Yep. So that is, I've marked gear to kind of improve position and or effect. And I'm going to roll command. So what does that look like?
So
Position and effect wise.
your position is standard, controlled.
Okay.
Your effect is your effect is standard, so it goes up to great.
Okay.
With your bonus.
All right. So I'm going to roll command here to have it be everybody, like to use command to operate the whole group rather than trying to lead a group prowl, which I think it would be otherwise. So I'm just going to roll my controlled great here, because if I mess up, I can pull back if I need to, and this is 0 bonus dice. So that is a 4 and a 4.
Okay. So a 4, I think, is they do take your instruction at this moment very well, and they're like getting into their own positions.
Mm-hmm.
But from this point onward, outside of your own commands, their level of engagement will be kind of touch and go at the moment. They are not. This is essentially you coming to the realization that they may not have enough actual combat training to be ready for the kind of high stakes situation that you have just found yourself in, because it's never come up before. So the level of decisions that they make on their own may not be as ideal as your level of tactical acumen, but we will see how. But they will be able to at least hold their own in that conflict.
Yep, and I think maybe how that is expressed is we see them kind of climbing up, and like a couple of them stumble. One of them is like kind of it's hard to tell whether they're shivering or shaking with fear. And Ring realizes that these are kids, just like a very sadly high number of fresh recruits that Ring was sent and had to lead into war, and that it's just that the war has come home. And it's the same thing. It stopped for a little while, but it was never really over. And so Ring is going to be caught between having to protect this crew that they've recruited and protect the people that they assembled the crew to try to protect, which sounds like a great conflict for Ring. And I'm good. Let's move on.
Okay. In fact, I would like you to also give me a 1 die fortune roll ring.
Okay. One die, fortune roll. And the notes on this is Brandon works in mysterious ways. It's a 1. I'm sure that'll be great.
This is not going to be great at all.
No.
Right. So remember when I said that there was one bandit by the door who was like presently unaccounted for because they were outside of Skelly's sight range at that moment.
Uh-huh.
So there's a porter in your present entourage. Their name is Tristan. She they pronouns. Who attempted to make it up the building that Ash is presently in, was trying to reposition at that same third story level from that building, and encounters a man of very hostile intent at that front door. And they attempted to swing, fail, and are now like being essentially barehugged by this person in the middle of the snow. You can see that. And they are crying out for help enough that Crossroads Sensorium will pick it up anyway. But Ash can hear something is screaming in front of this house. But Skelly cannot see where that is coming from.
Okay.
So hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
if Crossroads,
Mm-hmm.
If Ash hears the screaming, then certainly Crossroads should as well.
mhm.
Crossroads, I think I know how to answer the question that you're hesitating to ask.
If one of us is going to do something, it's not going to be Ash, unfortunately.
So Crossroads. Okay, so Crossroads feature as a whole, because each machine, to explain for the audience, when you roll for the character, you are able to pick one feature for the whole body that you're in. And so for Crossroads, that's a sensorium. And the sensorium is basically a sonar device that lets the hull in question pick up footsteps, heartbeats through walls, things like that. So it's a pretty sensitive machine. Given that, can Crossroads, because Crossroads has recently leveled up, and I took electroplasmic projectors, the feature of which is described as, you may release some of your plasmic energy as an electrical shock around you or as a directed beam. You may also use this ability to create a lightning barrier to repel or trap a spirit. Take 1 drain for each level of magnitude. So, I would like to bring the attention to the words "a directed beam." So, like a laser of ghost energy.
If I recall correctly, we had spoken specifically about giving you electroplasmic projectors as the physical manifestation of, I know how to control my outbursts of electroplasm now.
Yes. Basically, Crossroads has had a good 5 days of extensive therapy with the Strange Friends, and can now channel its terror, anguish, and trembling into the same exact feelings for everybody else. Can Crossroads, because the door is shut right now, can Crossroads use this sensorium to aim for the person's head and laser the person's head?
Yes, Crossroads can. So this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
If you wanted to create a beam relatively of the same like thickness dimensions as a lightsaber beam, for instance.
Okay.
That would require 2 drain.
Okay.
I'll say it's roughly an extra drain for every additional inch of width.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just wanted, like, essentially the range of a bullet to just pass through this guy's head, you can do
Mm-hmm.
that. And your sensorium already gives you the ability to um like accurately determine this person's figure from the figure that they're holding.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of you doing the work to get that ideal shot. So your
Okay.
position.
Okay.
In fact, first I should ask what action you should roll for that. What action do you want to roll for that? Will determine how we get to the next stage.
If the work that I am doing is to actually perform the job of aiming, it sounds like a finesse roll. If that's the question that you're asking.
I would argue against finesse because
Okay.
finesse doesn't speak to the kind of hostility that is about to be taking place.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Because Prawl is ambushing with close violence, but this is at a distance.
Is this
Skirmish
wreck,
is-
maybe?
this wouldn't be wreck because wreck implies like not only physical force but a kind of like intense brutality where this is more restrained. I would part of me is inclined to say that this may be a hunt similar to how Skelly fires.
Guess what? I have 0 points in, guys.
So does it need to not be a tune?
So here's what's going on in my brain. It can be a tune, but either the reason why I was hesitant to a tune is because based on the laws of physics that we have implied in this game so far, either a tune opens you up to the kinds of extremities of electroplasmic possibility that you were already beholden to when you weren't trying to focus, or a tune is specifically for attempting to make that beam do something that it's not supposed to do. Like if you wanted to turn it into Darkseid's Omega Beam, for instance.
Crossroads doesn't know who that is.
No one does. He doesn't exist. So if you the reason why I'm against a tune in this instance is save for the work of attempting to actually trap a ghost. In this instance, you're just trying to do a kind of harm that you would be able to do with another kind of weapon that was not electroplasmic. So I wanted to operate under those same rules.
Okay. In that case, because I'm also looking at the amount of drain I have, and I don't have that much drain left to me because last session was extremely stressful for the anxiety taser. What if Crossroads got up very fast, went to the door, opened the door, and then tried to blow up someone's head with a tune the good old-fashioned way? So basically, like, from the outside, if there was a camera watching, there would be these two people grappling, or rather one person grappling the other. And then in the background would be the door. And then suddenly the door would just open. There would be a robot friend. Robot friend reaches out and grabs the nasty person's head, and the nasty person's head explodes with ghost energy. Could I roll for a tune that way?
You could. I will remind Jeoi the player that the consequences of that being too good would bring into play a level of higher electroplasm that might also cook Tristan.
Okay.
I'll go. I believe in this moment that Crossroads is focused enough to know that that is the potential risk that would be incurred. So if you wanted to snipe, I think sniping would be more ideal.
Okay. And it does make sense for the character. Okay, so I will go with sniping, and then be very careful about stress later. And I guess we are rolling hunt with the 0 dice.
I'd like to use a move to help.
Okay.
Because Ring has foresight and says 2 times per score you can assist a teammate without paying stress. Tell us how you prepared for this. And I have 2 options that I can pitch to the group. One is Ring would have told people in this crew that if you see a giant, like a giant person with a plague doctor nose, you need to duck and get out of the way. So that the assist there is that it's easier to just laser the baddie, or that we could flash back to Ring giving Crossroads, like we flash back to Crossroads hearing Ring being like assuring and encouraging to Crossroads. So I don't know which of those sounds better in this moment.
I like the drama of either, so I think I'm going to leave that to Jeoi to decide.
If we flash back such that Ring basically noticed that Crossroads was practicing pewing, Ring could have given Crossroads like a little bit of aiming help, I guess, because Ring has fought in a war before. Ring actually has guns and can tell Crossroads how to aim non-existent guns in a gunnish way. So
yeah, and I think it's the same kind of advice that Ring gave other soldiers, and it's about not getting focused on, like, it's not so much about focusing on just the thing, it's about making like it's the exhale and see through what it is. Like, so you're not shooting the thing, you're shooting through it. And like, so it's presented in a way that's just close enough to be able to be viable for Crossroads in terms of like shooting a finger laser.
Okay.
So that's a free assist. You'll get at least 1 die.
Okay.
Okay. Remind me of Crossroads' other features, if any.
Crossroads happens to have a secondary hull, whose hull feature is smoke projectors. That's the other feature that Crossroads has. So
yes,
essentially,
but that would be attached to that other body.
Yes, so essentially for the audience, Crossroads, unbeknownst to Crossroads, so this is getting a little meta now, Crossroads has a second body, which is in the shape of Redacted, and it's able to basically deploy smoke as a diversion.
Okay. Right. Right. Okay, so I know how this happens. First, we should probably resolve that flashback. So I would say that that's 1 stress.
Oh, but if Ring was using Foresight, then that doesn't cost Ring any stress, no?
Oh, wait. Remind me of what you were
So
using just now?
It just says it's the move Foresight. 2 times per score, you can assist a teammate without paying stress.
Right.
Tell us how you prepared for this.
Okay, right, yeah, so, okay, right. So that just works. But we should still resolve that flashback. So, roll me... I'm inclined to say that that's a consort.
A consort?
Ring or
Ring.
Crossroads? Okay.
Okay. As a fortune roll or with position?
Fortune roll.
Okay, that's a 2D fortune roll. Five and a 2.
Ooh, nice. Good. So that just works. It happens. That brief heart to heart was a resounding success for you both. Um,
Hooray!
I wish I had more time to like actually do some drama things with that, but you're in the middle of a gunfight, so we unfortunately do not have said time. So you right. Crossroads. You will roll hunt.
Yep.
Your position is desperate.
Yes, because I also want to clarify is that Crossroads has never heard Ring specifically screaming in terror. So Crossroads totally thinks that it's saving Ring right now.
um,
So it's, very desperate indeed.
yes.
My effect?
Okay, right. I know how this. Right. So your effect
Mm-hmm.
is extreme.
Extreme, and I get 1 bonus die.
You will get 2
Oh.
bonus dice because you think that this voice is Ring.
Can
Friendship.
Ash encourage Crossroads in any way to throw just 1 more bonus die in there?
I don't know. Is Ash awake enough to do so?
Definitely
we did state
awake,
that Ash heard the
still
screaming.
in pain.
I would say, give me a consort fortune roll as well, Ash.
Consort fortune.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many dots do you have in consort?
0. I only have 1 in sway.
Right. You will give me a 2-die fortune roll, and we will take the lesser result.
Okay.
Ash could sway Crossroads with, you are good at this.
Okay. 3 and a 4.
Okay. You're not asleep yet, but you definitely didn't. You did speak, and you definitely didn't use any actual common words. Sounds just kind of fell out of your mouth at this moment. You are in a lot of pain.
It's very possible at this point that she's not speaking Akarosi and hasn't actually got enough processing power to figure out that she's speaking Severosi.
Yeah, that's most likely the case.
Awesome.
So you still only have the 2 bonus dice at the moment.
Awesome. All right. Are we ready for some terror?
Yeah.
It's a 5 and a 1!
This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. Okay, so this is what happens. You reposition at the door. Your sensorium is telling you exactly where you're supposed to fire at this moment. You can, you know how to position yourself in order to just get this person's head. You essentially rest your finger against the door frame in this position to just neum and just pass through this guy's head with electroplasm. What it looks like on the outside for everybody else, there is this deadening, kind of sorrowful silence in the street as the rest of the porters can hear, but not all of them can see, Tristan crying out in pain, being severely bear hugged by someone just outside of their view because they're all on the same side of the street. They can hear that the scuffle is taking place. Ring has just essentially repositioned to get a sense of, in this snowfall, where that sound is coming from to move into strike. And then Ring, from some angle just forward of the action, and Skelly from above, can just see this 2-inch burst of yellow light just rush forward down the intersection. And then you hear a body slump in the snow, and you hear Tristan like very winded try to get up from the ground, very like swiftly shuffling through the snow, still kind of screaming but not at the same intensity. Ring. First ring, give me a 1 die fortune roll.
Okay. It's a 4.
Okay, it whizzes about 2.5 feet away from your head. You see this burst of yellow light fly through. You know that it's crossroads, but it didn't do anything to you. That's 1. And 2, all of you know mechanically that the thug's clock has just ticked once, and the bluecoat's clock has just ticked once. But Ring in universe is now aware of the fact that anyone who just saw that burst of light now knows that conflict has just taken place from this direction. So you can either hunker down for more conflict or you can move. Because there's definitely going to be a fight now.
Okay. So my impulse is to have Ring go to where Ash and Skelly are and try to get everybody out. How does that sound to y'all?
Ash and Crossroads, you mean, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
And Skelly's across the street.
Yep.
Still.
Skelly's up on sniper post.
Yeah, I think Skelly's staying up top and keeping an eye out for people while Ring takes care of business. Yeah.
Can Skelly provide cover fire for the extraction? I know we have not tracked ammo in the least, but
Skelly has so much ammo.
Yeah, I'm going to assume
Ellie
that
has
as
3
soldiers
guns.
we can be semi-liberal with ammo consumption to the point up to the point where it would be kind of unfeasible for you to still be in a gunfight.
If there comes a point where
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, Skelly's out of rifle ammo. It's okay. Skelly puts her rifle back, pulls out 2 pistols.
Yeah, right.
I'm picturing Skelly with the full Rambo sash.
This is the Matrix right now.
Yeah.
Skelly's just like, wait, where did she pull that gun from? She'll never say.
Yeah, so I think the way that I would pitch this is that Ring kind of commands / leads the junior porters to retrieve Tristan and Ash and Crossroads, and is leading them out, possibly while Skelly is providing cover fire. But ideally, Skelly doesn't have to stay behind very much. So I'd like to use that as a command role to kind of operate this whole cohort.
Okay, that works for me. Because of the level of work that is presently being done, I think that it's fair that your position is risky.
Sure.
And your effect is standard.
Okay. Is there a Devil's Bargain available?
There is a Devil's Bargain available. You're immediately not going to like it.
Okay. What
do you really want to hear it?
I mean, I'll happily hear it without any guarantee of whether I take it.
So a reminder of the clocks are. There are the clock of being ambushed by bluecoats is presently at 3 out of 4. And the clock of more thugs ambushing you is presently 1 out of 4. My devil's bargain is that both of them are set upon you immediately.
Oh, that's too much. I don't want that.
Exactly.
Okay. Can Skelly offer an assist with covering fire? If you've got the 1 stress to spare, then that would be great.
Oh, show.
Okay. Then I'm going to take that assist. I'm going to roll command. This is risky standard.
Yes.
Okay. And standard. And I'm going to not push and hope that if I get a mixed result, I will have enough stress to resist and see what we can do from there. So that's one bonus die because of an assist. 4-2-4.
Okay. Um, cool. So clarify for me exactly what your intent is at this moment, like your general intent.
So Ring, kind of from halfway up the roof, shouts to the porters to basically scramble halfway down this block and provide covering fire while I get these people out. And Ring is shouting this as they are like moving across the street up to the people there. And Ring is in a position to like Ring can shout loud enough for Skelly to hear, and Skelly can relay it. And Ring has just told these people that they're going to be helping Skelly. So I feel like I've got the positioning to make that work. And then the assist could even just come from Skelly reaffirming Ring's orders. And so Ring has coverage and backup as then 6 people instead of 1 get to where Tristan is and then where Ash and Crossroads are, where we're going to use these numbers and then we are going to start fading through a back alley to get out of this fight.
Right. Okay, cool. So that happens without any issue. One of the other porters comes back down to get Tristan, and they kind of like steady them a little bit so they could continue moving. The other 4 are already like jumping roofs and like trying to like reposition themselves to go back down the intersection. Um, are you going to meet Ash and Crossroads, or do you want one? Or you wanted one of the porters to do so?
I would like to clarify that after the body fell over and then Crossroads heard Ring doing command things, Crossroads realized that it wasn't Ring that it actually saved, so it goes and it once more like close hangs Ash and is like, I will protect you, and is ready to attune whoever comes through the door, because that wasn't Ring, it just helped. So they're in danger again.
Okay. Noted. So I will say that one porter is available beside you, Ring, if you wanted company to come back downstairs, and that the rest is to you.
It should be Ring who goes to Crossroads and Ash.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the porters are providing cover, and like 1 or 2 of them are like 10 feet ahead to be scouting. I don't want to.
Yeah. You have one such porter presently within range, presently within like um 10, 11 feet, who is like actively making sure that you are not under threat at this moment.
Yep. And Ring is telling them we're going to Depot 13. And Depot 13 is not actually a depot. It is a hideout for the more illicit parts of things that porters do. And so that's the place we're fading to. So like Ring has told them where they're going. Ring is like, we're operating this group. We have the people to be able to help move Ash if needed. So what I'd like is for us to either be out of this job or in position to make one more roll to get out of this job.
Okay. So I know how this is going to happen. Because I initially imagined that this was going to be very tense, but I know how to make this like more. I know how to make this flow better with that intention. So, um, as you are moving, as you all like gathered everyone and start moving out of the building, I will ask you to make a 3-die fortune roll. Right. So you're making a 3 die fortune roll where each die is essentially the result of you moving from one block to the next in the direction of Depot 13, and can add one fortune die for right, and you have the option to add one fortune die for um your own study and for Skelly's study if you want to gather more information. But you'd have to give me those study rolls first to determine whether you successfully gather enough information to move.
So we can set up this fortune roll with
Yes.
with other stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Study or survey for this?
Right. Study or survey. Either of which will be position desperate. Result. Effect standard.
Okay. Ring only has one survey, but Skelly has two.
Unfortunately, Skelly rolled a 2 and a 4.
A 4. Let me see. Ring's roll first.
Okay. I think Ring is also doing this as survey because it's about snap judgment. Ring gets a 1. Not great for Ring tonight.
That's not ideal. But the fortune roll is now 4 dice.
Okay.
Mixed success is still a success.
We have a request to give inspiration for my character from someone in chat using
I did not
supporter
notice.
stuff.
Thank
so
you.
I would be happy for that to roll back to the survey or for it to apply on the fortune roll at your discretion as the GM.
Right. Okay. Aha. I know what. I know how to reevaluate this. You may, if you like, give me back your survey roll. Your position is still desperate. Your effect is now great.
Okay. I want to pause for a second because we're checking whether Lone Wolf 67 does have the inspiration. I don't want to take a bonus that is not available.
Apparently, I don't think so.
Arv is figuring it out, so hopefully it will not take more than a few seconds there, because I would be very happy for that to replace my
it seems confirmed.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be very happy for that.
Right. Okay. Now I understand. It would seem that Lone Wolf had one that was presently used. But Trifidi Mats just suddenly did the thing. Okay, cool. Right. So we will sort that out at some point, but let us resolve that an inspiration has been used. So, cool. Right.
So is that can be re-rolling the survey to avoid the consequences?
Yes, you can re-roll the survey to avoid the consequences if you want, or you can just turn that into a bonus die for the thingy.
I would like to see if we can avoid the consequences. No bonus dice. That's a 6. Thank you. Yay! Inspiration. That was very, very helpful. So thank you for the clutch assist, Lone Wolf. And thank you for being ready to go hard for the assist, Trifidi Mats. So yeah, that's a 6 there. So that's both a success from Skelly and one from Ring, which should give us a 5d fortune roll.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you to make that 5d fortune roll, and then we're just going to observe those numbers very briefly as we take a break, so everybody can do some bio things, and then we shall return to discover what those numbers mean.
Okay. Fudge.
I'm going to have a lot of fun determining what a 1 and 4 twos mean. This
Yeah.
is really Blaze City Dark as John Harper intended. I'm having a lot of fun here. So we will be back to chart the movements of the strange friends and their porter entourage as they move out of this tense conflict into a potential hiding space. But until then, we're going to take a bio break. A bio break for us means a bio break for you as well. So drink some water, get a snack, do whatever your body insists that you must do for a moment, and then we will be back in a few minutes with more of the case of the Cindered Seal. Aha! So, I have done a thing, everyone. So I brought up the entire Zoom window because we just wanted to make a very swift announcement before we return to the rest of today's session of the Case of the Cindered Seal. As you can see, there is an uncameraed box presently
I don't
um,
actually see it right now.
housing the soul of Gregory Wilson. Um,
I
I
don't
hope
see
that.
it right now, actually, Brandon.
I,
I think it's still on the intro screen, on the splash screen.
are we? Please no. I hope that. I hope that OBS is not like.
There it is. Now I see it.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
delay for such things.
I hope that that delay was not terrible for everyone.
Oh, I
but
see.
yes.
My bad. I didn't. Yeah, there was a big delay. My bad. Okay, cool.
Oh no, perfectly fine. But yes, we are here now to do the thing. Greg has joined us because apparently there is an announcement of some sort to be made. Even I have no idea what this is supposed to be. Greg just messaged suddenly and said, "Hey, I have news." So I guess we're going to figure out a thing all together. So if you see me being presently surprised, this is like genuine confusion, genuine surprise on my part. So Greg, take it away.
All right, so I do have news, and I'm sorry for interrupting the game, but I will make this quick. So, Brandon, as everyone will know, has been doing an amazing job with GMing not only Blades in the Dark, but of course Soundclash: The Clampdown, and now is also a participant in the Speculate Rebel Crown game as well. And so, obviously, Brandon is not only our co-host on Speculate, but has done an amazing job GMing here. And also, Brandon has, bless Brandon's heart, been able to take over production on some of these, which has meant that my family doesn't give me the side eye when I'm like, I need to go back up and stream more on Sunday. And they're like, what? So I am most appreciative of that. But one thing that I know has been a frustration has been dealing with technical stuff partially related to things that are all things computer. So, I am pleased to announce that with the assistance of my amazing mod Dragonspear, who is an expert in all things computer, that shipping out on April, I believe it is 8th, direct to the address which was given to me by Brandon, is a new cyberpower computer. This is funded by the Patreon, and it is a computer which will be more than suitable, not just hopefully for streaming, but also more than suitable to do things in general that will be helpful, I hope, to creativity. So this has, as Dragonspear made sure to send me, an AMD Ryzen 3 3100 3.6 gig chip. It has got a 500 gigabyte hard drive. It has got 16 gigs of memory. It has got a gigabyte LAN network on board. It has Windows 10 Home pre-installed. It has a 250 watt power supply. It also has, very important, 3 years free service plan, including labor and lifetime technical support. The only thing it does not have is a monitor, because I'm pretty sure you have one, and a keyboard, because I'm pretty sure you have that. It also has a GeForce GT 1032 gigabyte card, which is not like, this will game beyond all belief, that card, but it is more than enough to be able to do the stream quality stuff. And it has even a year warranty on all parts as well. So this is being shipped directly to the address given. It is being shipped out and built by them, which is why it's not being sent out until April 8th. I actually did this like 2 weeks ago. Dragon and I went through this. And I was like, I have to get it, we have to get this as we can. But I figured I need to announce this now because I had this terrible fear that somehow Brandon was going to be like, here, I have gotten the new thing. And I was going to be like, no, don't get anything. Get this. Here's the thing. So I am very, very pleased that thanks to the Patreon, which is the reason we have the Patreon, is to put it back into the channel and do things like this to support awesome people that are doing awesome creative work here, especially someone who's brought so much creative talent and inspiration to the channel. And so, Brandon, there you go. As I said, it is something which will help all campaigns that you're engaged in. It is not sponsorship from Evil Hat. We'll get there maybe. It is not these things. Although John Harper, now that you know the way we roll, maybe if you wouldn't mind just telling the people. Anyway, but no, in all seriousness, Brandon, I just am so grateful for what you brought to the channel. And so this is the channel attempting to help out a little bit as well. So that is the big announcement. Oh God, I've killed him.
Hey!
I am very glad that OBS has robbed me of the ability to have my camera on Zoom, so you couldn't see me actually physically fucking crying.
Oh,
I have, I
Brandon!
literally, I like, I mean, you, Greg, you already know the kinds of frustrations that I've been having making sure that like I
I do.
actually do cool
I
things on
do.
this channel and they look good and I don't like freeze in the middle of frames with weird looks on my faces as Yoi had noted earlier this stream. Um, but like to send me a whole computer is a lot.
Yeah, man. Listen, it is more than deserved, and I I wish, and I really do wish that I could do this for every person who's involved. Like, I'm enormously grateful to these amazing players that we've had here month after month. I'm enormously grateful to my very good friend Mike, obviously, for lots of things, not just Speculate related. And I wish I could do this for all my players, but I have like 25 of them, and I don't. I have my funds are not capable of sustaining all of these things. But no, I just it feels right, and I have to say, and then I will shut up and get off the channel and let you folks continue. I am sitting in my new office at the new house that we have just moved to, which is a 200-year-old sea captain's house, and I am in this amazing large space. And I was putting away today many of the old poetry books that my father had as part of his poetry press that I think I've talked with you about before, Brandon, called Singing the
Mm-hmm.
Speech Press. And
Because
this
I
is
have
something
a lot of feelings about that. And
yeah, I'm hoping we can talk more about that actually fairly soon. But while I was putting it away, it occurred to me that, my father labored, basically ran a press off of a dining room table for a decade or more, and never had a house, never had the ability to be able to get something like this. And it feels very, very much in line. This may not make a lot of sense to anybody but it something feels very right to me about some kind of through line between some of my father's struggles and helping someone else that I respect enormously, making it maybe slightly easier for you to be able to do creative work, not just on this channel, but also, of course, for this channel. So anyway, that said, I am enormously grateful for that. And yes, so it is on the way. Please don't buy a computer before then, because that's going to be it'll be really awkward. But yeah, it's coming to the place you sent, you told me, and yeah. Oh, and you also got a free large gaming mouse pad. I just saw this. So yeah, I guess they threw that in. But the
thank
thing
you
that I
very
really
much.
liked about it too was the fact that it had the 3-year labor and lifetime technical support. I'm like, hell yeah, hell yeah. That's what I like to see. So anyway, and Cyberpower
Yes.
has a good rep in the industry. So anyway, that's my announcement, and it's my great pleasure to do it. And yeah, now you can go and torture your players some more. But thank you everybody for being
I'm not sure
indulgent.
I'm in the mood to be torturous anymore.
See, I told you it would benefit the players. You're gonna be like, suddenly everything goes away and a dreamscape appears of rainbows and
God damn it.
sunshine.
And like, so I want to say thank you. Obviously, I want to say that like the fact that you can do this for me and the fact that you can do this out of the Patreon for me means that I definitely want to pay it back to the channel and try to do more interesting things for you. So obviously we're going to have that conversation very soon about I guess whether I own Sundays on this channel now.
I
For
mean, you
real.
already kind of. I feel like I'm paying you back for the work you've been doing, but okay. I mean, regardless, this will just be in a continual loop where nothing ever gets done. We just give each other stuff constantly, and then everyone's like, "That's great. What do you actually do? Nothing. We just spend all of our resources helping each other." No. But anyway, no. Listen, as I say, well deserved. And again, thank you, players, for putting up with this and continue to be awesome and amazing. And yeah, so that's the announcement. I will get off now and leave and watch.
Yes, thank you again very much. Enjoy the rest
My
of your
great pleasure.
evening, and I guess we will talk very soon.
Sounds like a
Thank
plan.
you.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye. Jeez. Oh Lord. Let's do the thing. Hold on. Hi, everybody. Is it obvious that I'm still crying? Um, right. Hello, everybody. We were in the middle of people being in a life or death situation. Um, so I'm going to calm down a bit, yes, while Mike recalls for me what just happened when we did a fortune roll for the last moment that we were presently engaged in.
So Brandon had or gave the opportunity for Ring and Skelly to make survey and or survey or study rolls as a setup action to assist a fortune roll that started at 3 dice that was to see, I think, like the chance to get one or more blocks away more readily. I wasn't totally sure on that, but mostly we get the bad version because we rolled 2 1 2 2 2 on the getaway attempt. And Brandon described some things that sounded like consequences, but they're a fortune roll, and I'm not sure what things we can resist and how much we're just going to be in a bad position. So back to you, Brandon.
Right. Hold on, still doing the thing. So essentially, to clarify again what the intent of that roll was, it was essentially to observe how likely it would be as you pass each block to get in more conflict.
Okay.
Which kind of immediately means that you are in the path of engaging with one or more foes as you head back to as you head to Depot 13, which should reasonably mean, because of the progress of the clocks that were already discussed, that I'm going to mark one segment on each clock for each 1 to 3 of those failure rolls, which unfortunately would mean that you would under normal circumstances by that judgment be beset by both a uh, a group of thugs and a group of bluecoats. Because that's a lot, I'm going to keep it at the bluecoats for now. With that being said, I'm going to ask. In fact, I'm going to return to the rules that you had previously given me. Right, so Ring previously rolled a 6 on survey, which means that they actually notice what takes place. So essentially, how that. Hold on. Essentially, how that should progress is as you're moving forward, as the porter that is presently supporting you as you lead Ash and Crossroads out of the building are like finally clearing the front door and heading out into the street. You notice. You don't see what it is because Snowfall, being what it is still particularly tense at this moment. But you see movement higher up the street, and your instinct just automatically tells you this obviously has to be another threat. And it appears to you at that moment as two figures. They seem particularly tall, but that's all you can make out under the cloud cover. You can't make it from this distance, and under the snow cover. You cannot tell whether they are armed or not, and with what. You can but you can clearly see them in the street moving towards you.
Is it viable to direct the group down an alleyway to go around them? Or something like that?
Yeah, you can redirect at this point if you want, but it would mean that you would need to make an individual command for every specific direction instruction that you want to make until you get to Depot 13 or another direction that you want to hide away at.
Okay. I want to pause and check and see if anybody else wants to make moves here.
Mm-hmm.
Ash is being carried by Crossroads, so her potential moves are entirely limited to what she can accomplish intellectually.
I see.
Crossroads is fixated on carrying Ash very well and making sure Ash continues making little thump thump noises. That is important.
Are you focusing your sensorium then on trying to observe Ash's physical state?
I would be trying to split it half and half. So part of it on Ash, and then after a little bit, trying to listen to the rest of the street. Because Ring is obviously trying to pay attention, so Crossroads is obviously going to try and pay attention too, because Ring is smart and only makes good decisions.
Okay, cool. So, the thing that I will give you essentially for free because of how close you are at this moment is that you can tell at this moment that Ash's heartbeat is slowing down and that Ash has lost quite a bit of blood at this point. You are, as of this moment, the only person who has confirmed either of those facts.
Crossroads announces this at the first opportunity to Ring. Except Crossroads doesn't say Ash has lost a lot of blood.
Before you do that, though, as you raise your head, before you address Ring, I will need you to give me a survey roll to represent the level of focus that your sensorium attaches to observing the rest of the street.
Guess who has no points in survey? It's me. My position?
This has been a tense session all around. I'm sorry, because this has to be desperate.
Okay.
Your effect is standard because of the quality of your sensorium, minus the effects of snow on the actual chassis of your frame.
Oh, but I am. Oh. I just realized that Crossroads is wearing the getup that Ash put on it. So it has the hat with the veil.
Crossroads is already dressed for a funeral, just in case.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yes. So Crossroads is not naked, as it were.
Right. Okay. But still standard. Yes.
So still standard. Submit. I am not going to push myself because if I take more than 3 stress, I'll be into the wear zone.
Do you want a devil's bargain?
Oh, what is
can
the bargain?
Skelly help?
Right. It has not been established yet how many cops are present. I will establish that amount of blue coats as 6 plus 1. That 1 being an inspector. That inspector being the inspector that is actively looking for you.
That's if I take the bargain?
Yes.
Oh.
It will be established that there will be 7 combatants, 2 of which you can presently see.
Well, I don't like the nasty lady.
But this is your opportunity to make the nasty lady go bang.
Well, of the 4 strange friends, one is on the verge of not being meat anymore, and the other one's not meat already. So I'm gonna skip out on that, I think. No doubling today.
Okay, saying no to the devil a lot this evening. Okay, so still right. Desperate standard.
No bonus die.
No bonus die. So you'd be rolling zeros. You'd be rolling 2 and we'd be taking the lowest result if I'm not mistaken. Cool.
Yes. Jeoi, do you want an assist here?
Oh, if I can be assisted, I suppose. I'm not sure how I would be assisted because it is an internal mechanism that's doing the scanning.
Sure.
It is still this role is specifically for essentially your focus on the matter.
Okay.
So an assist would still be useful here. It would be essentially Ring putting you in a position where you are not so overly intensely focused on directing the information from your sensorium on one thing as opposed to the other.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one more free assist left, so I'm happy to give that unless somebody else wants to do the assist.
Yes, please use it so you will not have it again.
Okay. I mean, they're no good to me if I don't use them.
Indeed.
So yeah, I think that's Ring is in communication with the rest of the squad, and so Crossroads would hear, two figures down the block, tall. I'm guessing they're more party guests, or I'm guessing there are more people coming out for us, because this is Ring talking, including Crossroads. So talking obliquely does not help. Talking directly does help.
Right. Okay. So
Crossroads suddenly feels more grounded.
Okay.
That's a joke, because electroplasm.
Yes. So yes, 1 bonus die. Also, I got that joke.
Okay, so desperate, standard, 1 bonus die. Oh no, that's a 2.
Yep, your sensorium tells you that indeed there are figures in front of you. You are so like fuzzy at this moment in terms of focus that you cannot actually mentally determine whether the figure that you're seeing in front of you in your sensorium is one body or two. So yeah. So you just have to move forward with that information under those considerations. So I should ask Skelly first as well. What would you like to do at this moment?
Yeah, I think at this point, Skelly is sticking to the rooftops, moving to sort of follow, flank, or possibly sometimes get ahead of the others, depending on the pace that they're going at and the route that they're taking. So it's possible that a survey roll at some point would be reasonable to take.
It is possible that, right. What I'm thinking is you may first need to make a roll for the level of the fineness of movement that you're about to make, and then we can resolve a survey depending on how well you have traveled. So first, you should give me a roll for that movement. What do you think that should be?
Unfortunately, in this case, I'm not actually hunting anyone as much as I would love this to be a hunt roll. It's probably prowl.
The same thing I was thinking.
Yeah, because the only argument that I would make for hunt is it would require her to have some knowledge of somebody coming after them, which I guess arguably before, if she heard the whistling of the bluecoats, she could be like, oh, okay, so there's bluecoats involved. But I think hunt requires that you be looking for a specific person, I think, more or less. So I think prowl makes more sense.
Okay. How many dots do you have in prowl?
Just the one.
Cool. Right. Because of the stakes, it's only fair that this position should also be desperate. I'm just giving you all desperates this evening. This is a very intense situation. I am sorry.
It's snowing. There's cops. Somebody's dying. Everything is very desperate right now.
Indeed. Your effect is standard.
Okay, and I don't know if I can get bonus dice from anything. Because it's possible I can use focus to resist a consequence, but that seems like after if I fail the roll or something. So
I think I have a devil's bargain for you.
Oh, I have not yet come to the bargaining table with Lucifer, so yes. I'm ready to hear this.
Before you say anything, Brandon, I just remembered the fact that we all hate the color blue. So, and we are technically fleeing the blue coats currently, I think, so maybe the +1 bonus in magnitude should apply from here on out.
Right, yes, you are correct. That was an error on my part, I apologize. Right, so the devil's bargain that I have in mind is, and your Skelly is not going to like this, on this one immediate movement that you make to get from the roof that you're on to the nearest possible roof, if you don't get a 6, you will drop your rifle.
Everybody else is saying no, and I think that's probably also a no. I think Skelly wouldn't want to drop her rifle for anything. I
Yeah.
think this is one of those where it's like, oh no, my friend might die. But
Is this a special?
my
Have we established that your guns are special to you? I feel like we're establishing that your guns are special to you.
before this crew, they were my only friends.
Yeah.
Kelly,
Also,
no!
Kelly, you've known us for 5 days.
Are
You've
these
known
really your
those guns a
friends?
lot longer.
These are my babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Between
And
Truffle
also-
and these guns.
If Ash dies, you should not go with her.
I'll pour one out for you, Ash.
Oh Lord. Well, so
Would you
I feel like that's
mourn
a
Crossroads as a gun?
Like, that was a real good big gun. I feel super bad about losing that one.
So I feel like that's confirmation that yet again, not today, Satan.
Not today, Satan.
Okay, cool. So you will be rolling the dice that you have.
All right. It's a 5.
Okay. You make the right decision.
Oh my
Right.
God.
So you do like clamber just enough to this one roof. Like you weren't in any danger, but like you didn't like land gracefully John Wick style on this roof. But you are moving with the grace relative to trying to move from one roof to the other in snow, with your level of capacity. So if you would like to, from this point, make a survey roll, that would be good.
Yeah, because I'm definitely trying to keep an eye out for what's going on down below, especially since I heard that whistle before. Where now I'm like, oh God, are we gonna have cops show up? So
Right. So your
survey.
position is also desperate. Wow. Wow. Your effect is great, and you get right. No, your effect is extreme because you hate the color blue. No bonus dice.
I have supervision right now.
Could you trade effect for position and back it down to controlled great?
Brandon.
Mm. Yeah, that seems feasible to me. Yeah, that would only be fair. So you can roll controlled great if you like.
Then I won't get that sweet, sweet desperate XP.
No, you wouldn't. But a lot is happening, and
Yeah.
you also just want to make sure that you do the thing.
We want to survive. Yeah, the XP won't help if she's dead. All right. And let's see. I don't think this is a case where focused can come into. This is focused as if I want to resist. So let's.
Mhm.
All right. Got a 2 and a 5.
Okay, a 2 and a 5. This is good enough. You also cannot determine from this point, because of snowfall, whether these individuals are armed, but you can very clearly see 3 figures, and you can very clearly tell that they are blue coats. They look big. They look like they might be armed, but you have no idea with what. It's 2 just kind of confidently walking down the street as if they're like eagerly waiting to set upon you and start engaging in conflict. And there's a 3rd that is kind of like flanking around the gas lights. They're moving as if they highly suspect that they are being seen. Like they're not trying to conceal themselves, but it appears less like they're trying to be hidden and more like they're trying to ensure that they get as much cover as possible in the event of engaging in gunfire.
Hmm. Well, it's hard for them to find cover from me right now. But that said,
Mm-hmm.
it's like if I can see them, I can shoot them.
You
But
can see them, but if you wanted to engage it, if you wanted to shoot at any of them right now, you would need to either get closer and use Sharpshooter from
no, I'm
the
I'm
roof
gonna
that you
assume
just landed.
I'm gonna assume that we have prearranged signals of some kind, and so I will attempt to pass along via whistling the direction and number to ring,
Okay, I'm just
and
gonna assume
by
that
by
that's a
extension the porters as well. So
yeah, because I'm gonna assume that that's a code that Ring has consistently had, and therefore anybody who's engaged with Ring for a while, basically anybody who's ever fought the Unification War,
Yep.
would know exactly what's happening here.
Yep. Now that may include the blue coats, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, it does. You highly suspect that there are bluecoats who fought in the war.
they already knew how many of them there were. So
Yep.
So yeah, we can
So
move back to Ring now, unless somebody else has something very deliberate that they wanted to do.
does Ash have like a secret passageway or hidey hole or something that she knows about that would be able to call up without being wounded being a problem?
No. Like, so the problem here is that although we have given a Severosi cover story to Crossroads, there are no Severosi she can go to while being pursued by the cops in the company of Akarosi. Like, this is going to be very much one of those, why are you bringing them into our space? Why are you hurt? Why are you bringing trouble down on our doorsteps? Kind of thing. If she was with other people from her own culture, then she would be able to invoke the help of that culture collectively. But right now she is, aligned with a group that her local community does not trust.
I see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm happy to try to roll command again to navigate the group out. Or I have a question for you, Brandon. If I did a survey to gather information on a safe route out, could I, when pushing myself to gather information, do one of the following: discover a hidden object or location using Can't Fool Me from our crew sheet?
Aha! Yes, that would actually be very useful in this instance. But before we resolve those series of actions, I actually want to turn back to Ash all of a sudden. Ash, can you give me a 2-die fortune roll?
Okay. Let's find out if Ash can see God now. That's a 3 and a 5.
3 and a 5. Okay. Um, things that may not seem like they are immediately attached to the things that are about to happen, but are valuable to me regardless. Can you remind me of what your abilities are?
Oh, sure. Not useful at the moment, but Infiltrator. You are not affected by quality or tier when you bypass security measures. Ambush. When you attack from hiding or spring a trap, you get plus 1d. The Devil's Footsteps. When you push yourself, choose one of the following additional benefits. Perform a feat of athletics that verges on the superhuman. Maneuver to confuse your enemies so that they mistakenly attack each other.
Okay. Right. Cool. The first thing that happens is that there is a moment as you are walking when what was once a very obvious street in the middle of Duskfall being surrounded by snow feels like a lot of snow and so too much snow to the point where snow cover at your periphery seems to make buildings disappear, and the wind gets stronger and louder, and then it stops. And the white that you're seeing looks less like snow and more like you're on this like endless plain of like hardened salt that has just turned like hard slick white. It doesn't feel like you're being held by anyone anymore. It feels like you're still walking under like some kind of labor, but it doesn't feel like you're surrounded by anyone anymore, and it doesn't feel like that labor is that you're injured. If there's anything that you want to like specifically identify in this space right now, you
Yes,
can
I
roll.
would like to roll a survey.
You may roll a survey or an attune to gain that information.
I have no dots in attune.
I see. Okay.
What is my position?
You will give me a survey fortune roll.
Survey fortune. Okay. 1 die?
How many dots do you have in survey?
I have 2.
Right, so it will be 2 dice.
We have a 5 and a 2.
Okay. You feel something in your hand. It feels very heavy. Feels like the kind of heavy that is the kind of heavy that if you picked it up in an antique, you would know that it is made of specifically very high quality materials. That is either sufficiently ancient, if it were a metal or a stone, or of a sufficient quality to fool someone if it weren't clearly that ancient. When you look down to see it, it is a white. It is like white and black speckled marble, with what looks like a handle on. It seems like a pure marble cube, except for a handle jutting out from one face of it that looks like the semi-nude bodies of 3 women who are leaning against each other, to create like a central pillar at that one face of this marble stone. On the other side are a series of etchings that look familiar to you, but it doesn't. It takes a very long while as you're observing it, that you've seen these things before at the Batcave. The thing that is in your hand is the Cindered seal. When you register that it is, first it looks like the etchings themselves are like making smoke, and the ash just kind of falls out of them naturally, as if something is being lit on fire from within it, even though it is just solid stone. And then your hand catches fire. It doesn't feel like anything, but your hand is like covered in flame at this moment. You can see it. It doesn't trigger any moment of fear or confusion in you in this moment, even though you can feel in your head this is a lot. Outwardly, you feel as if you are perfectly calm in this moment. You look ahead and you see the figure of a person that you don't think you've met before, but the sound of their voice reminds you of the sound of someone that you have spoken to before, but you don't immediately place it. The first thing that they tell you is, you're not supposed to be here. The dead aren't supposed to be here. This is not a place for the dead. Without you thinking, you reply to this person, I'm not dead. I'm severely hurt, but I'm not dead. And this person nods kind of reassuringly, like, yes, thanks. I'm glad that you're not dead. Because it would. And they pause for a moment, and then they point to you and say, I'm grateful because it would be bad for us if you were dead.
It would be bad for me too.
Like that is when you say that, like that's one of the few moments when you feel like a thought that you are having and the body that you're in are actually in sync. They gesture for you to walk forward into this like still very empty expanse of like pure salt. Um, and you come across just like nestled in the middle of your path, not surrounded by any other buildings, what seems to be a replica of Crossroads apartment. They gestured for you to enter it as if this was where you were headed the whole time, and you walk inside. You hold the when you open the door with your free hand, even though that would require you to awkwardly kind of push out with the hand that is not immediately the hand that you would push out this door with. Um, that hand and the door handle both catch fire. You enter this space, and the first thing that you meet in that building is a version of yourself from before you left Severus. This is your, like, the haircut that you had when you were 14 or 15, the clothes that you used to wear when you used to tell people that you were going out to ride, but you didn't actually want to ride because you weren't in the mood to do horse things at that moment. But what is also noteworthy is this version of you is 8.5 feet tall. And they look down at you. They seem kind of confused. And you can tell that, even though they don't say anything, you can tell that that confusion is this the kind of person that I become when I get to this age? I'm not sure if I think that this idea. They don't say any of this, but you could just know, you just sense that that's the feeling that they have. And then they point to that version of you points to a dresser nearby in the room. Points to one of the drawers inside, and you pull it open, and there are just two like strips of something inside. There is a drawing of the the person that you met outside. There's a drawing of the person that you met outside on like charcoal on paper. It's very impeccable kind of quality work. Something that like one of the old masters would have done, even though this person is relatively young, so you have no idea how this would ever exist in this style unless it was a forgery or something like that, but it looks beautiful, it looks amazing. Um, and at the like bottom right hand corner of that drawing is uh just like random scraps of words that don't make sentences. The first is meat question mark, and the second is sometimes I think I know what I'm doing dot dot dot.
Clarification. The kind of meat that has the EA or the EE?
EA. EA. And the other strip of paper is what you can tell is an alchemical symbol from the last time that this came up when Ring had an outburst in the Batcave several days ago, but you don't know what the symbol is. The 8 foot tall version of you clears her throat and knocks on the door like very insistently as if to try to get your attention. When you raise your head from those pieces of paper, the entire house is on fire. They clear your throat. They clear their throat again, and when you turn to face them, you are suddenly back in the middle of the street. You are looking at Crossroads rather insistently. Crossroads, you have no idea what this means, but you notice your sensorium picks up very suddenly at that moment that out of nowhere, it seems like even though Ash has lost a lot of blood, they seem very animated at the moment. They've still lost a lot of blood. That blood is definitely gone, but they're acting like they haven't lost any blood at all. Um, this is at that exact time, you actually do feel like you have been um somewhat like enlivened by something that you have seen, something that you have experienced. Um, and what you sense as a result of that fact is, at this moment, any attempt to perform any skill attached to your abilities mechanically, you will not suffer the one die penalty as a result of your harm. If you wanted to do sneak things right now, you can do sneak things. They will hurt, but you will not be penalized for those things. You will be penalized for any other action that you wish to take.
Let's see.
You have that revelation around the same time that Ring wanted to do a thing.
I would be very happy to leave the camera at Ash.
Okay.
If Iori, if you want to do a hero
Yes.
thing at this moment, because that would be very cool.
Where in the city are we again?
I cannot recall where we had been, where I had placed us all. If I recall correctly, we had just moved somewhat east, somewhat west rather, of I want to say we were in Central Brightstone at the time. I may be mistaken. You aren't like visibly aware of what block you're on at this moment, but you are in general Western Duskwall. So if you wanted to head, for instance, if you wanted to head back to the docks, you would have to head north. And if you wanted, if you wanted to head to Depot 13 as previously intended by Mike, that would have also been further north. Northeast, but yes. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to any particular location that you wanted to identify?
How far are we from Crossroads' real apartment?
That would be a good few blocks, but once you are confident at this point. In fact, no. Give me a roll for this. Give me a survey roll. Plus. Wait, no. Right. You. Okay, right. So you'll give me a survey roll, and your position will be desperate, and your effect will be extreme, because your effect is great +1 as a result of engaging with blue coats.
Okay. Any bonus dice?
I'm going to say that everything that Ring has already done in terms of surveys prior to this point, will give you 1 bonus die.
Okay. And then actually, I would also like to push myself
Okay.
and take 2 stress, because that will give me the additional benefit of performing a feat of athletics verging on the superhuman. And I would like that to be walking under her own power with a crossbow bolt in her side.
Oh no,
Please.
for the purposes of this definition, I will say that even though you are still visibly in pain, your attempt to perform that ability will be as if you were uninjured. It will allow you, for instance, to, if you wanted to, leap over 3 blue coats, you could do that.
How far away are those cops?
Um, I want to say at this point they're like 25ish, 30ish feet away. Under the assumption of the your visibility in snow, they seem 30 to 35 feet away.
Actually, yes. The other question I had was, how bad is visibility in the snow?
You can only see figures. You personally, Ash, haven't even identified that these are blue coats yet. You just identified that they're big.
Mm-hmm. So actually, I'd still want to push myself and use the Devil's Footsteps, but I want to use the other benefit for Devil's Footsteps, which is maneuver to confuse your enemies so they mistakenly attack each other.
Okay. All right.
So I think this is a total of 4 die now.
Yes. Wait, how many dice was your how many dots did you already have in survey?
2. Wait, sorry. So 3 dice, right? Because 2 dots in survey plus the assist from Ring doing survey before plus push yourself.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen. So you have pushed yourself to confirm that you're going to do a thing, but that thing is separate from the actual survey. So, give me the survey roll with 3 dice.
Okay. Survey. Desperate, extreme, plus 2 dice.
Plus 1.
Plus 1 for a total of 3.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. 5, 1, and 4. And yay, desperate XP.
Nice. Okay. So, this is what I'm going to say happens. So you see your opportunity very immediately as to... You clarify in this moment, there are 2 figures in front of you. You clarify in this moment, they are very big, they have hostile intent. You clarify that there are blue coats. In this moment of like pure adrenaline, you get up out of Crossroads' arms and just sprint towards them. They see you and go, wait, what the hell? And you see them draw from their both of their left sides for what is immediately discernible to you as you start closing the gap as like 5-inch long stiletto blades. They are about to cut you up. And you just you are not even noticing the speed at which you are moving. To everybody else, it seems less like you are running, especially running with a severe injury, and more like you're kind of just gliding across the snow. And you just kind of slip between them as they both attempt to make a slashing movement directly at your neck. But you get past them so quickly that they just kind of fumble and hit each other in the eye. Like, all the way deep. Both of them just, like, mutually stab each other in the face. And then they start screaming very perilously. In such a way that the third individual, who you are now, like, immediately next to, is utterly surprised by the fact that you're there. He didn't even see you coming as you arrived. At this moment, you can now do anything that you want to do to this individual.
I mean, I have no dots in skirmish.
All
Crossroads
can be used
could-
for murder.
Yeah, I think this is going to have to be a prowl.
Yes, you can do physical harm with prowl. Remind
Yes.
me what the description of prowl is again. Let me open this thing.
Prowl about unseen and traverse obstacles. Climb, swim, run, jump, and tumble. Ambush with close violence. A backstab, throat cutting, blackjack, etc.
Right.
And on
yes.
her loadout, Ash is indeed carrying a blade or two.
Yeah, this is your moment to do any the way that I'll describe it is this is the moment that you have to do any Black Widow bullshit that you would like to do. Before this person even successfully realizes that a whole adult person is beside them.
Yes, this is when Ash is going to go for the slashes to the face, which are just a really solid way of distracting someone.
Okay. Do you have
What's
any
my position?
before we do position and effect, remind me if you have any abilities that would aid you in violence.
When you attack from hiding or spring a trap, you get plus 1d, but I don't think this counts as either.
Fair
I don't know
enough.
if the
Skelly assist?
if the
In
guy
fact,
didn't
no.
know you were there a second
No,
ago, that
right.
sounds like an ambush.
He knew you were coming. He just didn't see you actually come. So it would be it would be kind of unjust for me to say that this snow cover counts as hiding. So unfortunately that doesn't count. But you will get plus 1 effect because you are about to shank a cop. So your position is risky,
Mm-hmm.
and your effect is extreme.
Okay. Any bonus dice? Can Skelly assist by covering from above? Or is Skelly even able to keep up with how fast we're going right now?
Skelly barely saw you move. You kind of became like a blur of adrenaline energy at some point, and Skelly was actually kind of surprised that you got as far as you had. So Skelly
so
is
I would-
unprepared to assist in this moment.
Okay.
I would like to say definitely that when Ash just leapt out of Crossroads' arms and suddenly disappeared, Crossroads panicked because Crossroads was not warned that small friend would suddenly disappear. So, however the DM would like that to manifest, either as a distraction or as area damage or anything, Crossroads is panicking right now. I don't know how you would like me to...
Give me a 2 die fortune roll, please, Crossroads.
Okay. 2 die fortune roll. Submit notes. Crossroads panics again. And that is a 5 and a 4. Oh no, the laugh. The laugh, guys.
The laugh was very immediately that at this moment it dawned on me that I've never imagined what Crossroads making something go boom sounds like, and then it dawned on me that it sounds like one of the guns that you get in Apex Legends, but that was just me in my own brain. Right, so this is what happens. Wait, no, in fact.
Do I need to roll first?
Yes. Totally forgot that you hadn't actually rolled, because I was looking at a roll and was like,
Yes.
no, that's not that roll. Survey doesn't do
Yeah.
a violence. Right.
Right. We interrupted the calculation of bonus dice to check if I was receiving any assists, and I am not, correct?
you'll get one bonus die for a distraction that is about to occur. I just need to qualify
Okay.
now as a result of your roll what the violence will be. So yes.
We have a 4, a 3, and a 1.
Right, okay. I know exactly what happens. Um so you're immediately upon this person and they're looking up at you with like absolute confusion as to how you got there this fast while they're presently ready to engage in a violence. Um, you draw one of your blades, and at this moment, it feels less like you and more like your hand is just like thrusting forward with malicious intent. Neither you nor Crossroads will ever notice exactly what happened in this moment. But what actually happens is you aim for his throat, and he is dead before you can actually penetrate flesh. Because a bolt of electroplasm actually hits the tip of your knife and then just hits him in the neck, and then this entire portion of flesh and muscle and bone directly under the chin and directly above the clavicles just turns to jam underneath his head, and his head just falls. But at that moment, you're just like the haze of adrenaline that you're in makes it appear to you in that moment that you had just severely sliced his throat. It doesn't even register to either of you what has just happened. The rest of you just see like a burst of steam from that portion of where snow would have fallen in that direction if they weren't for electroplasm. Um, and then Ring, give me a 1 die fortune roll.
Okay.
A lot is happening.
It's a 6.
Yes, nice. The thing that I wanted to happen happens. You hear sirens. Klaxons are going off from some direction and they are rapidly moving towards you. Ring, you can tell that they're coming from northeast. Um, so it's going to be kind of difficult to move back in that direction. When suddenly, you hear a whistle from your left hand side. And when you turn to meet it, there are 8 more porters just came out of the intersection, and 4 of them are carrying what is essentially reinforced wooden rickshaws. And they turn to Tristan and go, I can't. You hear someone call into the cold. Tristan, have you seen the boss? And Tristan calls back. Yeah, Ring's somewhere in the snow. And they like a couple of more porters start calling out, "Boss, we got your way out." And you can see like 2 of them are like gesturing for you to essentially just get on these rickshaws and then throw some cloth over you so they could just run you out of the snow.
That's pretty brilliant. Ring will crap. I want to be able to communicate to Ash that we have an out. And so I think that has to be just that has just to be battlefield command voice.
Yeah, she's like pretty far out of it mentally.
I will say that the part of the result of this 6 in particular, I will say, is one of the retinue of porters that you had initially mobilized is already like trying to like wave their hands very vigorously in Ash's direction to get their attention.
Ash is still holding a knife, so if anyone's going to approach her, I think it should probably be the one who's not made of meat.
Oh god!
Crossroads is definitely going to run for Ash because Crossroads doesn't need to see to find Ash.
That's true.
Yes.
Because Crossroads can hear Ash forever.
Okay,
So, yeah,
so you
I
can
think-
just pick up just Fireman's carry Ash while still swinging a knife in the air.
No,
Yes.
Crossroads is going to pick Ash up the way it has been picking Ash up
Like a
all
baby.
this time, just like under the armpits, like whoop, and just like run that way.
Okay.
And Ash is still looking at her knife because, like, there's splatter, but the blood pattern on it does not indicate usage, and she is so confused.
Yeah. That's gonna happen for a while. You're still presently, arguably, you're still presently delirious. But we will get to that point soon. So I take it then that you're all very quickly getting under these rickshaws and being ready to move.
Yep, let's get out of here.
Yeah? So,
Crossroads assures Ash that it is not panicking anymore when it picks her up.
I mean, it might not be panicking, but I think Ash is so far out of it that when Crossroads reaches out to her, she doesn't see arms, she sees wings.
Oh. Crossroads tries to be soft. It doesn't work.
Crossroads tries to be soft. What the visual result is, Ash can see the imperishable wing in full glorious regalia at this moment. And like literally like that like haze of delirium makes you feel as if you're back on that salt walk again, and then you pass out. You're now unconscious. Tristan covers up Ring with some cloth and says, play dead until we get to Dern's, and then you'll eat like you've never been hurt. And then you see, like, the scene from the outside of these rickshaws is, there is literally a kid on each there is a porter on each handle of these, and they're just pacing up the block, like they're taking off like they're not actually children. They're running as if they're attempting to beat a land speed record. And they just take off further down that intersection before two blue coat carriages pull up at the corner, and the final like frame that we see is like us panning out over the streets of Duskfall as we see them as we see these porters taking very perilous sharp turns at corners with your bodies all rocking inside of these wooden objects as you all are just rushing forward towards Dern's warehouse, and then we fade to black. I am sorry that you all got in all of this intense conflict.
That was so much fun.
That was great.
I think some of y'all like got desperates in the 4s and 5s this session alone. So yeah, y'all are gonna be swole next session. How do you all feel?
I'm gonna need to slowly exhale in stages for a couple of hours.
Yeah, you seemed very tense. There was a moment when I asked you to roll, and I was like, "Is Mike mad at me? I think I made Mike mad."
That was me processing how to frame the reverse devil's bargain as a player to Brandon being like, Brandon, I will let you kill my character if you let me get the rest of this crew out of here. Let me write the ending of this character to get out of this situation. That was me formulating that and figuring out how important it was.
Understood. I will keep that in mind if things ever escalate this badly further. Because, I mean, you still have beef with the Bluecoats.
Yeah.
No, Ring can't die. We need to keep having a brains of the operation.
Oh, yeah, there is that. That's a very big sacrifice. Because then you'll have to rely on Skelly.
You don't want me to bring in August as a leech, August who is far less capable in almost every way except being smart at architecture.
You're trading Sherlock for his brother.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty funny.
You're either trading Sherlock for his brother, or you're trading Sherlock for a John Watson who still has feelings about the war.
But yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad that you all enjoyed that. I'm glad that I got to like give you all opportunities, not only to like I've kept saying this session that this is Blades in the Dark as John Harper intended, in part because not only does um Desperate give you opportunities to level up and do more cool things in future, but it in itself is an opportunity to do something particularly amazing. And even though the roles were not uh on your side a handful of times, you still responded to those opportunities by attempting to either make another opportunity or taking advantage of the negative consequences that you got. And I thought that was really um narrative forward of you all, and I'm very grateful that you all like took me on that. And I'm particularly glad that Mike was willing to roll on some devil's bargains, even though I thought that those were some very big risks out of nowhere.
Well, everything you can't lose in role-playing games as long as you keep rolling sixes. But that strategy is very vulnerable to things called fives.
Yeah, like, unfortunately, the thing about a six is a six-sided die has five other faces, and those faces don't have sixes on them.
That sounds very. I don't know about that. We're gonna have to talk to Bob McDice Engineering. I feel like
Yeah,
I'm gonna lodge some complaints with Roll20.
yeah. Like, bring up a complaint with the Roll20 Ombudsman at some point in the future. But yes, thank you so very much for engaging in some shenanigans. When next we meet for the case of the Cindered Seal, all of you will get to finally eat and be merry and celebrate Christmas in April. Um,
You said eat. Rude.
I mean, you're still putting food in your mouth. You never complained
For
before.
later.
Passing it to Skelly.
That too. But yes, you will get a moment of reprieve. That will be another that will be a continuation of what was already supposed to be opportunities for downtime. So I'm going to treat this very much like I'm going to treat this very much like a score, but we're only going to resolve those score things when we meet next. But until then, I guess the only thing that is left to do is for you all to let all the lovely people in chat know who you are, what you do, and where they can find more of you, starting with Mike.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching and listening, everyone. I want to give a special shout out to everyone on Patreon that supports the show. All of our Patreon funds currently go to paying Rudy Basso, who is our lovely podcast editor. So thank you, Rudy, and thank you to everyone who helps make it so that we can send him regular work. If you would like to become a patron, you want to go to patreon.com/speculate. And there are lots of extras for people at higher backer levels regarding Rebel Crown, which is the other series that Speculate has running that IGM. And we are going to have a new session of Rebel Crown. We're scheduled for that this coming Friday. So fingers crossed that nothing in fate conspires to keep that from happening. Otherwise, you can find me at michaelrunderwood.com or at Mike R. Underwood on Twitter.
Okay. Next, Jeoi.
Jeoi Gawain Lin, pronouns he, they. I have played Crossroads this session, are extremely stressed whole, carrying around a very small friend. You can find me at This Is My Design, capital DASEIN, on Twitter. Game and fiction writer and made of meat.
Next, Iori.
Iori Kusano, she, they, Clarion West class of 2017. Fiction in Apex, reviews in Strange Horizons. Find me on Twitter at Iori Kusano. That is spelled IORI. There are no L's in my name.
And Valerie.
I'm Valerie Valdes, playing Skelly. I You can find me on Twitter at Valerie Valdes. That is with an S for people who are listening and not seeing my name spelled.
Okay. And I again have been your GM, otherwise known as the person who played the death of 4 bandits and 3 bluecoats in this session. My name is Brandon O'Brien. My pronouns are he, him, or they, them. Um, you can find me on the internet on almost every social media platform at the Rising Tides. That's Tithes. Um, the Fugitives crew sheet that this crew uses for Blades in the Dark is available on my itch.io page. That's therisingtides.itch.io. You can also find a lot of other game things there as well. Um, it, and I you can also find me next Sunday on this same channel as I GM my other game for this channel, Sound Clash the Clampdown, which is based on a Blades in the Dark hack called Sound Clash, which I am presently designing. And you can support more of my design work on Patreon. That's patreon.com/The Rising Tides. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me while we did the thing. And I'm going to now fade away and return to chat. So if you can just say goodbye to everyone in chat, say goodbye to all of these lovely players as they hopefully get something to eat and relax from all of the intensity that has presently taken place. And I will be back with them shortly. Um, but I will return to you all now so I can just talk to you all. Thank you so much for joining us for this evening's game. This was a lot of fun. A lot has happened this evening, and I'm still kind of responding to all of it. Um, I'm very glad that I get to do these cool things on this channel. I'm very glad that I get to share this space with all of you lovely people in chat who keep out of nowhere proving to be even lovelier than I had previously assumed. Um, I, I, I'm literally still at a loss for words for what had happened earlier this evening. That like I'm still trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do next for this stream, but I will definitely shout out first and foremost Arvin Alaron for giving me an opportunity to be on this channel and do so many cool things on this channel. I hope at some point in the future I get to do more of those cool things. Especially considering that you literally all essentially spent money for me to be able to do those kinds of things, and I'm still feeling really good about that. So like, um, thank you so much for making space for me to do this on this channel. Thanks for empowering me to do Sound Clash on this channel. Thanks for helping me be able to gather with my friends and do all these cool things. Thank you all for that. Um, Shout out to Triffity Matson for moderating this evening. Um, Shout out to Aten, Crazy Ut, Crit Twitch, Eranth, Foxy Fresh, Elda Lara, Kusano Iori, Lone Wolf 67, Manning Wilkins, Mrs. Dunsill, Saint Pomelo, Tom Toms, The Kids Are Asleep, Turbo Tango, VNK, and Von Meat for attending this evening's stream. I'm definitely missing a couple of people because I know that um, I know that Paul was here earlier. I know that Paul Wemo was here earlier. Definitely again shout out to John Hopper for passing through on this stream. I hope that you don't become a stranger. We'd really love for you to continue witnessing the rest of the shenanigans that we have planned on this series. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being so often unnecessarily generous to me in this space. I hope as I keep doing things on this channel to keep finding ways to repay that kind of uh, gratuitous grace with more creativity, more stories, more play, more wild shenanigans with all of these folks. But until then, I am going to get something to eat and probably cry again. Um, and I'm going to wish you all a good night, and I hope that we see you all again soon.